Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 3-year anniversary live stream. We will be talking quite, well, hopefully not too long about a few stats that have come up since the last time we did a review. So our last review was 6 months ago. We did our 2.5-year review, which was only a blog post, and we figured that this time to celebrate 3 years of Kanka, we'd do a live stream and just kind of go over some of the evolutions that have happened over the last few months. I know that last time around we had some issues with the stream being a bit choppy, so let me know if it's better. I'm hosting it this time around, so hopefully things should be a bit better. And so yeah, on that note, welcome Jay.
Thank you.
You are still a tiny bit choppy,
yeah.
But welcome nonetheless.
If I'm choppy but you're good, then that's better.
That's the best we can do for now.
So, as John mentioned, last review was 6 months ago, and since that we've had quite a bit of growth in all the numbers. So let's just go over some of the numbers and talk about some of the interesting evolutions which happened over the last 6 months. So first off, the amount of accounts created, we're just, by the end of the month, we'll hit 50,000 accounts created. So we're just shy of doubling again over the last 6 months. That's between 80 and 90% growth, which is, as usual, fantastic. We had the previous review 150% or 60% growth, so we're growing faster, which is crazy. So if my math is right, by April 2021, during the next review, we'll be at between 90 and 100,000 accounts created.
Well, let's hope.
Crazy.
If we can manage that, that would be incredible. I think I would settle for, actually, you know what? Like, if we just keep doing what we did last few months, we'd hit at least sort of 75. So, yeah. Let's aim high.
Exactly. From those 50,000 accounts, 12,000 have logged in at least twice during the last 3 months. So about 24%, 25% of accounts log in at least a second time, which is the percentage is stable. So we have still a lot of people create an account, checking Kanka out, and then not staying. But 12,000 accounts coming back is impressive. 6,100 accounts older than 3 months logged in during the last 3 months. So again, 12% users come back after 3 months, which is still a good number compared to the previous numbers we had. For the first time, someone else has logged in more often than I have in Kanka. That's Guardian's accounts with 6,000 versus my 3,000. I blame his usage on the API for his high number of logins. The biggest campaign keeps growing. It's a big West March campaign at 250 members, which last time it was 210 members. So it keeps growing and it boggles my mind that you can have 250 members in a campaign, but some people make it work, which is amazing. And the largest campaign, Chaos OS, is no longer the largest campaign. It is now one from Drafts with 4,700 entities. Which again is a massive amount of entities in a campaign. For reference, my campaign has about 1,100. It's been going on for 5 years, so that's my benchmark. And nearly 5,000 entities is crazy.
I guess Chaos. This is a call to arms. You should start writing stuff. Like, I mean, I just feel like you're letting yourself down, really.
Exactly. And all these numbers will be published in a blog post after this live stream, so you'll be able to look at them more in detail. Otherwise, from total entities, the biggest entity count is 240,000 characters in Kanka, which again is massive. 6 months ago, number of characters was 1,400. Yeah, 140,000. Yeah. So
from 1,400 to 240,000 would be quite a leap.
Yeah. Locations trailing at 230,000. They always stay about close to each other. Characters and locations, the primary entity for world building and campaigns, so that makes sense. Races keep third place with 84,000, tags 74,000, items 71, organizations 52,000, nodes 44. It just gets lower. One thing I wanted to focus on is during the last 6 months, we've introduced three new entity types: abilities, maps, and timelines. Abilities has 20,000, which is
It's a massive leap.
which is a lot of abilities. Yeah. So from an entity type which didn't exist 6 months ago to have 20,000 now, it's crazy. It's really inspiring to see that it's used and people, use that module, enjoy the features. Maps are at 3.5. They're a fairly recent addition, and since they're not really new, because you have an old maps module on locations, so not everyone is starting anew and so have transfer from old maps to new maps. But 3.5 is still a very inspiring number. And timelines, which was released just a month ago, I think, to all campaigns. It was for boosted campaigns for a month, and then released to all for a month ago. It's 700 timelines created, which is also just cool to see people using new features, especially timelines, which was 6 months ago we mentioned timelines and maps as being new entity types we want to create during the upcoming 6 months. So we built them and happy to see them being used.
Yeah. I mean, that's also why we do community votes, right? It's so that we make sure that whatever we work on, whatever we build, is something that is really sought out by the community. And so it's encouraging to see that so many timelines have been created so far. And I actually look forward to seeing, especially for timelines, how many more will be created by next time round. Also, I don't think we have numbers yet, and I don't think we've really started tracking anything to do with the marketplace. But it's all brand new, and I guess we'll see how that evolves. But it will be interesting, I think, in 6 months. Maybe we can dig out some stats for you on the marketplace, the number of themes that have been created, and if we do end up beefing up the marketplace and adding other things that you can share, seeing how those stats have evolved as well. I think a lot of you have been quite enthusiastic about the marketplace and its uniqueness when it comes to world building and Kanka, and I think I'm looking forward in particular to seeing those stats in a few months' time.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about the marketplace towards the end of the stream, which we expect to run about another 20 minutes or so. But next up, we have stats over where our users are from.
Yeah.
John, you want to take it?
I thought I'd take over for this little bit. What's been quite interesting is, I mean, there's definitely been quite a large evolution. We looked at the stats for the last 90 days, so it doesn't quite cover the entire period since the last review. But what we have noticed is that Europe used to be a very large portion of our user base, and it still is, of course. We used to have about 16% of our users from France, 13% from Spain, 7% from Germany, 6% from the UK, a decent chunk from Netherlands, Belgium. Like, European countries did kind of dominate the top 10, and English-speaking countries outside of Europe made up the rest of the top 10, pretty much. And I think what's quite interesting to see is that essentially Europe has kind of shrunk. Even the US has increased its share from roughly about 26% to probably about 33% today. It's taking up a large third. I think talking about the US, it's also interesting to look at the US historically. And Kanka, when it was first started, so we are talking 3 years ago, the vast majority of users were from the US. And so I think it's quite interesting to see that it seems to have stabilized, at this point. At this point, the US does represent about a third of our total users. But they don't seem to be taking as much of a share as before. And what's even more interesting is that other countries have really started to grow. We're starting to see substantial communities in countries that are neither in North America, so US and Canada, nor in Europe, or English speaking, if we want to include Australia and New Zealand. And we've seen a massive, massive increase in the number of users from Brazil, to the point where over the past 3 months, they are our second biggest location, essentially. And 11% of our users over the past 3 months have been from Brazil. I think that also has to do that. We had a spike. Yeah, Greece this time around doesn't make it in the top 10, I'm afraid. Challenge, but hopefully that can change over time. But it's quite interesting to look at Brazil. So if we look over the past 3 months, they have about an 11% rate, and I think there's a bit of a peak over summer, where sort of June, July, even a bit of August, our website blew up in Brazil, and that sort of comes down to several factors. One is the way our marketing works, which kind of allocated a certain amount of funds to Brazil because it was a growing market. But also we had some very positive reviews from some local blogs and some local RPG websites that spoke about Kanka and promoted Kanka as a solid, free world-building website. And that really contributed to creating a growing community within Brazil. I don't expect Brazil to stay number 2 over the course of the next 6 months, but I do expect it to remain a large market for us. I do think it'll stay within the top 5, probably in top 10 if everything goes wrong. And the other one that I thought was interesting, talking about, once again, markets outside of North America and Europe, is we are seeing more and more users in Latin America. And there are certain countries that in particular have really surged, and Argentina has now made it to the top 10. It's also a new entry to the top 10. And yeah, we've been doing quite well in Argentina and Chile as well. I'm not sure I can fully explain those two. I know that we have had a decent amount of mentions on blogs within the Spanish-speaking world, though I don't know that I would explain why specifically Argentina or other markets like Chile, where we've kind of grown quite substantially over the past 3 to 6 months. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting to see that Kanka is really growing and is growing its international presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, Switzerland, which was initially, well, I mean, which is where we're from, has just completely lost the plot, if I can say so.
Switzerland was in the top 10 for about a couple of months when I launched Kanka and friends joined it, but yeah, I think we're still in the top 10 in 10 or 9th position after a year, and then it's just such a tiny market. It's not working, not staying in the top 10.
I guess TTRPGs aren't as popular in Switzerland. And yes, Challenge, it's very, like, I'm really excited about the fact that we're quite popular in what you could expect to be lesser known countries and countries where perhaps you don't necessarily think of when you initially build something like Kanka. And so I'm very excited to see that we're very popular in Brazil and that we definitely have a growing Latin American community. That's something that personally I like a lot. And yeah, otherwise, speaking of users and active users, there is quite a rise in the number of daily active users. Depending on the day, we're seeing probably about a 50% increase. So we were roughly at about 1,000 daily users when we did this 6 months ago, and we've been sort of hitting probably an average of about 1,500, maybe just under 1,500 lately. And I think what's also important to note in this case, where this stat perhaps hasn't increased quite as much as in the past, is when we did this last review 6 months ago. This came out in April, end of April, and we were experiencing quite what we can call like a COVID bump. Yes, a surge.
Yeah.
I think with everyone being sort of confined at home, a lot of people were more interested in opportunities for world building and opportunities to use websites like Kanka. And I think we definitely noticed a surge there, and there was definitely a bit of a lull afterwards. And we are now seeing, now that the weather has become a bit worse and people are potentially spending more time indoors, we are definitely seeing an upswing again. So that's also quite heartening and good to note that the number 6 months ago was artificially high, I think is the best way I
Yeah,
can say it.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
But
another
even
thing
then,
than that, sorry, Jay, I was just gonna
yeah,
wrap up with demographics and users.
sure.
But if we just have a quick look at demographics, once again, this perhaps isn't surprising. The vast majority of our users are sort of under 35. It's the best way I can. I mean, it's under 35. It's a slight increase from last time round, though frankly, it's not statistically significant. We're talking about a percentage here. So still about 3/4 of our users are under 35. I don't know that I necessarily have an answer. Do you have any thoughts on this, Jay?
Just tabletop RPGs are just becoming more popular now with a younger audience. So I'd explain it that way. Just by media, you think of what was that show on Netflix which featured Dungeons and Dragons, Stranger Things. So that brought
Yes.
in a newer audience, and just Wizards of the Coast, like they're crushing it with their numbers of new users. D&D Beyond,
That's true.
they just see a big growth, and
Yes.
those from their numbers they reflect our numbers. They're also
That's true.
seeing a big growth in under 35 years old,
That's very
35 year
true.
olds.
That's very true.
And maybe an older demographic might be less inclined to use digital tools,
Yeah.
like a world building site, or use more traditional tools like OneNote, or just type everything in Microsoft Word.
True. True. I guess old school remains old school. Though to be fair, we do have some users which are in an older age bracket,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
and yeah, but yeah, as we say, about 3/4 of our users are under 35. And the last sort of fun stat demographic wise that I wanted to mention was gender, and gender I guess is potentially partially representative of TTRPGs in general. We are talking about 80% of our users that are male, which is slightly up from last time round. Yeah, last time round it was slightly down from 6 months before. I think the reality is we kind of oscillate between 75% and 80% of our users that are male, and I don't know how we can change that really. I don't know if it's something we necessarily. Well, I mean, yeah, we obviously don't seclude any gender from using Kanka. It's just I'm not. I guess is this. Would you say this is representative of TTRPG players in general? Because from a lot of the groups I've spoken to, there's a decent amount of women who play TTRPGs.
Yeah, both women and non-binary are a big amount of the community. Why I don't know if ours is representative of the community at large, or maybe DMs tend to be more male identifying. I don't know. These are also Google stats, so they're not exact numbers.
No, of course not.
This is Google trying to guess your gender based on your search, on your profile, etc. So
but it's
these
the
aren't
best data
these
we
aren't
have,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
of course.
So yeah, I don't know if we are doing well. I could ask World Anvil. They probably have similar stats just to compare. But I guess not something we don't actively target males.
Yeah, no, of course not. I don't know.
Neither through ads or through the interface. Yeah. Yeah, that's something maybe for next review we could research a bit more.
Yeah.
Are we in the ballpark of the demographic in general, or are we doing something differently from our competitors, which make us higher or lower male based?
Yeah. Well, we'll try and look at. Actually, that's a good point. We'll try and look into it a bit more for next time around, because it does seem to be fairly stable, as I say, between 75 and 80% over the course of Kanka's existence.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we perhaps move on.
Yeah. After stats, always the community, which is just the best part of this life we're now living, this reality of 2020, where Kanka, I started it 3 years ago as a hobby project for my own DM needs, and now it's my full-time work. You are also my partner working on the company now on it.
Yeah.
I still, sorry if you can hear a police car in the background. It's just crazy. The communities we rant about this all the time in our live streams and privately. The communities are supportive of the changes and directions we go with. Sorry, it's getting louder. I can hear it through my noise cancelling headphones. Stop. They must have found a thief. And there goes again. Otherwise, a community is just the bread and butter of Kanka. It's what motivates us to continue building awesome tools, building a community, and also why we've now started working on community events. With one going on at the moment, where we just want to inspire people to world build and to share world building ideas. We've also in our Discord, which is probably the main community aspect of Kanka, with 1,500 users. We have several world building channels. We have help channels, and I love the feeling of waking up in the morning, checking out Discord, seeing people asking for questions on how to use Kanka, and people answering those questions. It's just it's an amazing feeling when people are invested enough, know the product, know the app, know the community, and just help each other out. It's amazing, and I can't say enough good things about our community.
Yeah, I don't think any of us can, either of us can. It's, as Jay says, we speak about this pretty much every stream we do and every chance we get. But you guys are really what makes Kanka worth it and what makes Kanka special to us. I think it's important that we regularly remind ourselves and you of how important you are in this project. We really do see this as community-led, collaborative, and I don't think Jay or I would have it any other way.
No.
And speaking of actually Discord, our Discord has also been steadily growing, and we're talking about 50% growth over the last 6 months. We were just above 1,000 last time round users on Discord. Now we're slightly over 1,500, so that's also pretty decent growth. We're quite happy to see that it's so popular, because it is the main tool that we use for communicating with you guys. It is the main tool we encourage everyone to use, and it's nice to see that it's really taking off as well. As much like as Kanka is evolving, our Discord is evolving as well. Yeah,
we still have a ways to go to convert everyone to Kankapi, the one true god of Kanka. But that's an ongoing process.
We're working on it soon, surely.
Yeah. Over the past 6 months, also some big changes which have appeared in Kanka, as we've added Catalan, Russian, Hebrew, and Croatian as languages.
And Greek.
And we're soon hoping to release. I wrote that in the article, but Greek is not ready, and the Greek translator is in the Twitch chat, so it's just put a bit of pressure on him.
Jay's trying to trip
Greek
me
and
up.
Slovak.
He's feeding me false statistics.
I had it in my mind it was released, but I checked again this morning, it wasn't. Hoping to add more languages in the upcoming months. And again, this is a community effort. And it's just amazing, people coming to us saying, we want to help Kanka, translate Kanka into our language, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Also, one big change we did, or another one of the big changes we did during the last 6 months, we introduced new servers. We used to be hosted on a small server which would frequently crash during the weekends, which was not ideal. And in May, we switched to 4 new servers. Well, more than 4 main servers and a few auxiliary servers. And, excuse me, we found a few hiccups here and there with the new servers, like being just last week, the servers were full. One of the servers was full and causing errors, and one of my notifications alerts wasn't working, and that's part of the process of now I manage the servers instead of having a service take care of the servers, which allowed us to more than quadruple the strength, the capacity of the servers without increasing costs. But it means I have to do more work, but it's it makes sense at a level now for me to take care of it. But there's still some learning to be done on my end. Other changes, we started Project Freya, which is a user interface redesign, where we have a sidebar which came out a few months ago to much of the community's excitement. Sadly, progress has slowed down as our designer has been caught up with life and work, but hopefully we'll have more to share on that closer to the end of the year, beginning next year. That's something we really want to,
We're actively looking to sort of kickstart that again, because it was something that, at least for me personally, was one of my priorities for this year, and I was hoping that by now it would already be done. Actually, I was hoping that, sort of over the course of the late summer, autumn, we would be able to implement all the changes that we wanted to. Of course, life gets in the way. 2020 seems to be the most cursed of all years, and so that's sadly going to take a bit longer than we had hoped for. But we are hoping, as Jay said, to be able to announce some news pretty shortly, and it's something that we are still actively working on and still actively trying to get moving.
Yeah, because when I started Kanka, I used an admin interface theme I used to use at my previous workplace, and I didn't imagine it 3 years later being used by 50,000 people.
Of course.
So you take shortcuts when you start a hobby project, and it just grew faster than we had time to find a proper solution for.
Which we're very thankful for, but it does mean sometimes we do need to play a bit of catch up.
Yeah. And probably, yes. Another big change which happened in the last 6 months is abilities I mentioned. One thing we introduced in May was the ability for boosted campaigns to recover deleted entities. And there we had a small hiccup where 1 month after that feature was introduced, it started deleting entities, and it deleted just way too much. So since then, that script has been it's not active. So at the moment, you delete an entity and a boosted campaign can recover it forever. That will eventually change, but it's not a priority.
I think that fateful day was possibly the most stressful day of Kanka either Jay or has ever had. Yeah,
we ended up losing a few hundred entities, which is still a lot, but many hours spent recovering as much data as I could, and so you learn. We had the same issue like a year and a half ago with the new mention system, which just balked entities, the description of entities. So if we can keep at an issue every year and a half or so, then that's I think a good number for any big IT project.
Yeah, for sure.
You want it to be 0, but the reality is it's software, and you'll always have edge cases which make you lose hair.
Of course. You've got to earn those white hairs. That's what my mother always used to say to me. But
no,
go ahead. I was just going to say that the other big thing that I was going to introduce it for you, Jay. Don't worry, I'll let you talk about it. But the other big thing,
I know what to do.
Yeah, you go. The marketplace.
The marketplace, which John and I have been talking about we probably talked about it closer to January, February, when we started brainstorming about big projects for Kanka.
I think it was definitely one of our first major ideas.
Yeah, because I had thought about it with the elementals for a while, and it's just been in the back of my head. There go the sirens again. To be able for the community to build content to then share with others in the community. And that's what we started with the marketplace a month ago with themes. So boosted campaigns can install themes from the marketplace, which allows people who are less creatively inclined or don't want to bother learning CSS. Which is a lot of work. It's like learning a new language. To be able to use knowledge and expertise from people in the community to make their Kanka campaigns look awesome, like way better than what I could build. which is very exciting. And we hope to add more features to the marketplace soon
Yeah.
with attribute templates. At the moment, you have 5th edition monster stat blocks, and that's it. And we hope to build up the marketplace to allow other systems to exist and to be maintained by the community. And also like content packs, like creative quests or interesting locations, NPCs, like world building entities you can just import into your campaign and add to your campaign or whatever. And I'm scared to say this, but one day add generators through the marketplace where you could have random generators, scripted random generators in the marketplace to add in your campaigns. Because at the moment, the only generator is the character generator in Kanka, and it's something I'm very unhappy with. It exists, but it hasn't been touched for nearly 3 years, and I hope the community can build better generators, which are also system. The generator now is very 5th edition centered, so I hope people can create generators for locations, for NPCs, which are not 5th edition, D&D 5th edition focused and more usable by the community.
For sure. The marketplace is definitely where we see a lot of a future for Kanka. It really, I think it's one thing that really sets us out and sets us apart from other world building websites. It's something that has, as we said a minute ago, been very close to our hearts for a very long time. And so we definitely are hoping to sort of expand and improve the marketplace and make it so you guys can just really showcase all the amazing things that you do. Because, I mean, honestly, we never cease to be amazed by how people use Kanka differently, how they manage to work around limitations, how everything that you guys do is so out this world and just so clever in the way you approach things. So we really want to improve that sort of aspect, the community aspect of sharing and of showcasing what you guys are up to, essentially. And yeah, we're slowly
that's it for this. Yeah.
slowly making our way towards the end, but I think there are a couple of things that we also wanted to add to this. We've both been working on Kanka full time for a bit of time now. Like I started a bit earlier than Jay, laid some groundwork as he'd been laying the groundwork for years, sort of part time, and we can quite happily say that our revenue has gone up by about six times over the course of the year so far, albeit from a very, very small base. But we are slowly but surely getting to a point where both Jay and I are able to like completely pay our bills. And I know that Jay, it's very close to his heart to, in the future, be able to hire someone to assist him and to help us go even further with Kanka. And we are hoping, realistic time scale is some point next year, hopefully summer. I think it depends on how Kanka grows, of course.
Yeah.
But for now, that's kind of what we're looking at. If we keep going over the next 6 months the way we've gone over the past 6 months, I think it's fair to say that next summer will be something, we'll be hopefully adding to the team. Or, even if it's discussing with people who might just work. Yes, exactly. Freelancers who might help us on a short-term basis or something. Jay, I think your camera's dying on us.
I know. Is it better?
It's super pixelated.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. My Airbnb host restarted my internet before the live stream, but I am using a VPN, so that has a small effect.
I mean, it's still better than last time. At least everyone can see me clearly, which I know was important.
What the public wanted.
Exactly. But yeah, and other than that, I know that this is a question that's come up a few times about work-life balance and, avoiding burnout and how to ensure that on the longer term we can keep delivering quality in Kanka consistently. And I think October's potentially been a good example of that. I know Jay's been taking it a bit easier, enjoying the sun, as have I, honestly. Not the sun because it's not sunny where I am, but my girlfriend's been visiting, despite the current situation. She managed to make it over, and like I've also taken things a bit slower. And without officially calling these holidays, because I think both Jay and I have been quite active and quite present and quite happy to engage and interact and answer questions. There has definitely been a bit of a lull in our activity over the month of October. And I think it's really helped us, or at least me. I'll let Jay speak for himself. But it's helped me also just kind of come back with a very good attitude. After a very busy summer, I'm now ready to start biting again, like start killing myself for Kanka again. And it feels good.
Yeah, yeah. July, August, September were definitely incredible months. We with releases nearly every 10 days or something, big releases, the marketplace, mentions as you go, timelines, maps, uh, abilities was a bit before that. But it's just, yeah, it's been 3 intense months, and October taking a bit of time for ourselves, and now coming back for November fully charged up. Well, yeah, it will be a fun end of the year
Yeah,
with all the features we have planned.
we're looking forward to delivering big on some major items over the course of the next couple of months. And
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that pretty much sums up most of what we wanted to say. And so I think the last thing we can really say is just sort of announce the latest community vote, well, the upcoming community vote. If you
Yeah.
want, if you want to
For,
take the lead on this, Jay.
yeah, for patrons of the Goblin tier and above and subscribers, tomorrow the community vote for November will go up. You can probably also mention what will be in it. We'll have two options. One is the marketplace, which we mentioned before, and the other vote option is more dashboard options to be able to better control the layout of the dashboard, and also create custom dashboards based on roles or users, so that your players in campaign, your players of a role can see one campaign players in one role, players in English. Members of your campaign in one role see one dashboard, and in another role they'd see another, and you as DM and your co-DMs could see also another dashboard, just having more control on what your users see as the default page. Because I know I have several groups running in my campaigns, and having one dashboard for everything can be a bit tricky. Playing with permissions, it'd be just easier to set a dashboard per role. So yeah, and yeah, the marketplace.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll start the vote. I think tomorrow is what we set on. So starting tomorrow, we'll be able to we'll start the vote, and as usual, there'll be a week. I think we discussed this probably being a 2-month vote. I think both features seem like they require a decent amount of time, and therefore it's probably safer if we take a bit extra time just to make sure that they're polished. If I'm not mistaken.
No, I think we planned 1 month.
Oh, okay. Okay. So once again, Jakey throws me a curveball.
Just to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's coming up, and in the meantime, you can participate in the world building events around the theme of Halloween going on at the moment, where you're prompted to be creative and world build.
Yeah.
The link will be in the links will be posted in the YouTube
I post them everywhere.
the blog post.
I highly encourage everyone to participate. It's Halloween themed, dead rituals. I think it was something that came up when we spoke actually to the community as something that seemed like it was exciting a few people. So I highly encourage all of you to participate, and we look forward to reading and judging your entries with Guardian, as he is the winner of the previous vote. And that's something we want to keep going. The winner of the past vote will be part of the jury for the next one. So yeah, I highly encourage everyone to submit your entries. And other than that, I guess I'm excited to see what you guys want to see us develop for the month of November.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much it.
yeah. We have two questions in the Discord,
Yes.
which we can probably go over quickly. Ornstein, joke question: who has the highest recorded number of shitposts? We do not have those stats. We'll have to come back to you with that. Because if you're talking about yeah, in the Discord, I think Ornstein probably tops it up with Kanka
Yeah,
pictures.
I think
So I
that's.
think you're the winner.
But I would
And
like to say, keep them coming. Like, don't rest on
yeah,
your laurels, Ornstein. Like, it's not over yet.
yeah. And Shabalampos asking non-stat related questions. Any plan for Kanka Christmas? Christmas. I don't know if that's spelling mistake or K on purpose because of Kanka. We'll see. I don't think we haven't talked about anything in that direction, but now that it's brought up, we'll add that to a weekly meeting to see if it's
Yeah.
something which can be done. And yeah,
Yeah, we'll have a talk about it. As Jay said, we haven't really thought of and discussed anything yet. Um, yeah, sometimes we're just playing catch up a fair amount, and Christmas is in 2 months, so we'll see.
yeah. All right.
Cool.
That's it from us.
Well,
Thanks everyone for joining in.
yeah, thank you for spending 45 minutes with us. I hope this was informative. Don't hesitate to leave comments and let us know what was good, what wasn't good, and what you'd like to change for what you'd like us to change for next time round. And yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks and see you next time.
Yeah,
Bye
take care,
bye.
everyone.